I've wanted to do an episode on leaks for years, but I've never really been sure how to navigate that in a fair way as a super creator. There's an obvious conflict of interest. We're supposed to think leaks are bad. Although I do mostly agree, I've always felt there's more of a gray area that's worth exploring. Occasionally, I've tried reaching out to a few of the people you'll hear named in this episode, and more that you won't. Most never respond. The ones who did, it never really panned out, and since then, I've largely just abandoned the idea. Rikashade is someone I've known for a few years now. He first reached out to talk about some moderation stuff when he became a mod for r/ClashofClansLeaks, and we've been friendly since. We've always had very different views on the value of leaks and the ethics of it all, and I'd call his approach misguided, but I've also never really doubted his intentions. He genuinely thinks he's giving something back to the game that he loves and to the communities that he's a part of. A while back, he contacted me about doing an RTC episode on leaks. I told him I was mostly over the idea, but if he had real info on who was leaking from within the creator program, maybe we could make something work. He went on to tell me he did in fact have some surprising information. I was skeptical, but we set up a time anyway. If you're expecting bombshells, I'll tell you now there aren't any, but our conversation did cover much of what I always wanted to talk about in a leaks episode of RTC. The methods, the morality, and the mindset of someone who sees leaks as a way of positively contributing to the larger community. This is that conversation.
What are we calling this? Is this a podcast?
Red. It's Clash.
So how about we start like this? Why don't you, in your own words, just kind of tell all our listeners who you are, how you got involved in the whole leak scene, and then we will just carry on a conversation from there. How's that sound?
Sounds good. So I'm Rikashade. I first got introduced into the leak scene back in, I think it was March or April of 2022. It was around the time right before the Clan Capital update got introduced. The moderators of the sub at the time were opening moderation applications, and I jumped on that opportunity to kind of shoot my shot, apply, and see what I could do, see if I can get in.
So before then, did you just have like just a general interest in leaks, or had you played around with data mining at all or anything like that?
I never really was involved with data mining. I'll definitely get into that later on, because I was actually shown by the leakers how to data mine, but I never went down that route fully. But yeah, no, I just always loved Clash, saw the leak scene back in 2021, and really kind of wanted to get involved eventually down the road.
So as I understand it, there's essentially two kinds of leaks, right? There's data mining leaks, and then there's like somebody talked leaks. Would that be an accurate division?
So there's actually three kinds of leaks. So there's the metadata and the game file leaks, which has all the upcoming content, different troop levels, building levels, decoration files, stuff that's like hard like coded into the actual game updates and maintenance updates themselves that data miners will go in and, find like assets or sprites or code or whatever is coming up. Stuff that Supercell, the devs themselves have, left in the files, whether that's for like an upcoming season decoration or, an upcoming update. Those recently have been usually around like the big update time. So we have an update coming up here in October. Recently, I've noticed that they have been adding kind of like 3 months worth in advance of content, especially for the Gold Pass stuff, which is really interesting to see. And I'd love to tie into that later. There's also server leaks, which I'd love to get into more, which is where some of the data miners actually go into the official Supercell server, and that's where they can see stuff like the skin previews, the sceneries, etc. A lot of Gold Pass related stuff that's server based. And then there's the third type of leak, which yes is from creators, where certain creators, even though they're not supposed to because it goes against their non-disclosure agreement, they may tell so-and-so out there certain things, and that's how certain things from the creator program get leaked.
All right, I guess my last kind of like foundational question before we go on to the nitty gritty, where do you stand on those different types of leaks morality wise?
It's a bit complicated because leaks in general, they're not for everyone. And, a lot of people do like to wait till their favorite content creator kind of reveals it, during the sneak peek session before the big updates. And some people love it. Some people like me, the whole reason I got into it, love just seeing these kind of like exclusive, like, oh, this is what's coming up. Oh, we're kind of like prepping ourselves. Like we're excited. Helps us plan upgrades. But, it's not for everyone. But morality wise, it just depends. The official server for Supercell, where these data miners are pulling this from, I mean, to be fair, you are in a way in a digital space going into their property, into their kind of physical space that they own and getting that information. I don't really feel like, it harms anybody too much, but, it's questionable, but not as bad as I feel like it could be, especially because Supercell has cracked down a bit more on how often that server's updated. Like, Gold Pass stuff will not be really leaked as much as it was before. A lot of the times it's usually within like the last day or two before the next season. And that's why you'll see a lot of leaks around that time versus maybe like a week in advance. So like for that, it's like, well, yeah, it's not great, that you're going in there because it's their property and their company. But at the same time, clearly it's open to the public. Like if you know what you're doing, you can get in there. Best case scenario for that, I'd say, would be to password protect it. Sure, the data miners wouldn't be able to, get in there, even if it's not password protected, some sort of protection to prevent remote access to that server would probably help Supercell. But again, it would kind of also hurt the leaks community. In regards to the creator program leaks, I'm not for that. And that might be a big surprise, but that's just because I don't agree with breaking your non-disclosure agreement. That is a contract that, in my opinion, shouldn't ever be broken. Obviously, there's big repercussions and, it's legally reprehensible, I'd say. And it's just not something ever, especially professionally, that you want to do. And, I think some maybe creators, whoever they may be, I'm sure it's not the big ones like Judo or anything. Obviously, they would never do that. I do have my suspicions, and later on we'll probably get into that, who it could be, because I've actually had talks with some of these leakers back in the day. But I regardless, I don't know if this because they think they're not going to get caught, but I don't think anybody should be breaking that non-disclosure. But as regarding the metadata, I think that's free reign. I mean, Supercell's the ones putting that into the actual game files themselves. And while it is against TOS to, metadata mine and share all that, they release a public build. It's not like the dev build and the creator program. It's a free game also, so everyone has access to it too. You can just download it, whether it's the APK file from the Android Google store or whatever. And then if it's there, I feel like it's free reign. I mean, that's just my personal opinion. I'd say that's the one I'm the most loose about, in my opinion.
The way I've heard the morality discussion go around data mining in the past is like, these are files that are on my phone, essentially. These are things that are in the app that I've downloaded, and they're things that are stored on my own personal property on my device. To say I don't have a right to go look at that is wrong. That's something I totally agree with. When you're talking about data mining and looking at what's in the game files, is that an accurate kind of description of what's going on with Clash of Clans?
I mean, yeah, I completely agree with that statement. I mean, I think that goes for any application or program that you install on whether it's your computer or your phone. I mean, I feel like that's just a right because it's there and you have it, and if it's accessible, then by all means you should be able to kind of see what's going on.
So with the second type that you just taught me about, looking at what is on the server, so is that in fact something that's just open? Like if I had like a web address or whatever, I could go and do this myself right now. It's not something that's password protected or what an older guy like me would call hacking, right? There's nothing criminal about looking at. Is that your understanding?
Regarding criminal, I don't know because I don't want to say anything, like that I don't know about personally because I don't know the full like legal logistics about that.
Like it's so rare, especially around Reddit, to be like, I don't know, so I don't want to answer that. It's just,
I don't want to say
yeah.
something that's going to get me in trouble, but I will say it's not something like everybody can do. When I was shown how they do this and how to do this, I will say there's third-party programs that aren't mainstream, and yeah, they have, I think, like the official like IP address or something for the server to be able to get into it. It's very technical. It's kind of above my skill level. I'm just a graphic designer. I'm not a computer programmer or anything. When I was even showing it, I was taking notes. I don't have those notes anymore, unfortunately. A lot of stuff's just been lost to time. But a few years ago, I was showing this, I was taking like notes because they were going to show me how to like data mine, and this was part of it. And I was just like blown away with how sophisticated some of this is. I'm like, somebody had to sit here and figure this out. And to me, that's just personally impressive. But I'm pretty sure there may be some illegal logistics to it. I don't know, but again, I can't answer on anything that I don't fully know about.
Okay, yeah, that's fair, and I can definitely respect that. If you didn't get from my laughter earlier, and then finally, so like the third aspect is just creators talking and breaking their It's always weird to me to call it an NDA. I'm a former U.S. military intelligence analyst, so I am very familiar with non-disclosure agreements and potential legal ramifications of breaking one of those. Obviously, very different stakes when we're talking about treason versus, hey, what's coming in the next Clash of Clans update. But so, when I first joined, I was expecting to sign paperwork, and that never happened. Eventually, there was like a creator program website portal like redesign, and now there are like terms of service essentially for being in the creator program where you do agree that you're not going to share privileged information. And like in the end it kind of amounts to an NDA. I feel like it's probably a lot less robust with if it were ever to come to needing legal action. But yeah, like I would have to say, like, as someone with a very high respect for keeping secrets, yeah, that would be my biggest moral issue with leaking would come from other creators who are talking to people they shouldn't, or especially because it seems that there are creators, both official tier and super creator tier, who are willingly sharing information with leakers for the purpose of leaking that information. So that would be where I personally have my biggest moral issue.
I never knew or figured out if there was any like financial incentive between all the parties, and if there was any like money being transactioned for leaks and news. But it would make a lot of sense if there was one guy within the dev team leaking that information before the creators knew, and that's why you said on very rare occasion you'd have that. But in regards to the actual creator program leaks, I'm pretty confident a lot of that comes somewhere from the Middle Eastern content creator program. I don't think it's anywhere in the United States. I don't think it's anywhere on the West Side, because the way this group operates, they're very friendly with people in that area. And again, I don't know if there's any money incentives to it, but there could be money being, exchanged for leaks because they're putting their NDAs on the line. And again, all this is just, it's been a couple years. So I unfortunately, a lot of screenshots I had are lost to time. A lot of information I remember is lost to time. But I do remember being in Discord talking to people like Kurdish and even COC Arab a little bit. I talked to Kurdish more. COC Arab, I never really talked too much. But yeah, a lot of this information was kind of conveyed to me through there. I know Thon was originally part of that group. So they had the whole leakers group on Telegram. And of course, they have, their fingers in certain pie holes, whether it be the alleged dev at Supercell, or maybe one or two creators in the creator program that I know for a fact were definitely tier 3, because you wouldn't get the kind of stuff you get under tier 3 for because we're talking like actual content, actual dev build stuff. And that's where you get like the videos or they're recording over it. It's a very, very sophisticated group. They're very well coordinated.
So from the leaker point of view, you just said there might be some financial incentive. I've always just kind of had the impression that, like, I don't know where money would be flowing in for being a leaker. I've always just kind of assumed it was more of like a pride and ego thing. to say like, hey, like I can do this. I'm the one responsible. I'm going to put my name on it. Do you have any insight into that aspect of it, like the motivation behind people who do this?
I think leakers like Saul Goodman, Thawne, Patrick, I think all of them have their heart in the right place. I think they just do it out of passion. The way I've seen them operate, the way I've like observed their personality and the way they work, I just feel like there's something more sinister going on, and that's kind of what really leads me to believe there could be a lot of incentive for money. I just don't see a content creator doing what they like, risking it all without something to gain in return. I mean, it just doesn't make sense to me why you would break an NDA for nothing, even if it's just to share some information early. And I also know, based off my conversations with Clash Kurdish, that they're not really doing this out of passion like the others. They seem to be, like you said, not just about pride and ego, but in my opinion, I think there definitely could be a lot of monetary incentive to, running these leaks through this Telegram network.
Out of all of this, like, who do you think is like the victim? Like, are there any victims? Broad concept, like leaking in general too. Like, do you view Supercell as a victim, or like players, or like creators? In fact,
I guess Supercell, in a way, is kind of a victim because if you think about it, a lot of that information is getting pulled from their servers or from creators that do break NDA. But when it comes to like pulling stuff from their servers, yeah, like that's kind of not great. But I would say also that some players may be a victim because, like I said in the beginning, not everyone wants to see leaks. And while it is your choice to, not see those leaks, like not go out of your way to go to like the subreddit, for example, to see that, you might see leaks, for example, on the main subreddit. I know you guys get a lot of those from time to time here and there on the main subreddit. And you might, like, as a player who doesn't want to see leaks, go, darn, scrolling on your phone, you're like, you just see one and you're just upset that, something got spoiled before the official like teaser in a way.
yeah, I know leaks on the main subreddit are like it's something that like me and the rest of the mods end up talking about like way too much because like some people just really can't let it go. But I really pride ourselves on how independent we are of Supercell. Like they don't, never once in 5 years that I've been a mod, never a single time has any of them like expressed like even hinted at a desire for us to do things a certain way or don't do something. They are very respectful of like us running the subreddit how we want. It also creates this big nebulous cloud like over the whole thing too, because like there are four of us that are super creators, and yeah, like yeah, leaks are bad. We're not allowed to leak stuff, obviously. Most creators, I think, will remove leaks from their own Discord servers and just say, "Hey, it's not welcome here. I'm an official creator. Don't do it." And then Reddit is out there just like, "No, like leaks and leaks are fine."
If you don't mind me putting this in real quick, there is one little small detail I would like to
Sure,
add,
sure,
and
sure.
this is just a personal opinion. I think I talked to you about this once before, but I do think leaks are good for one aspect, and that is psychological marketing. I think seeing leaks and what's coming up, especially skins and stuff, or some other aspects like some building levels, but mostly like the terms of like cosmetics. I think it's a great way to sort of hype people up to what's coming. And a lot of the times, in some cases, even in some studies, it's been shown that, showing something before it's released can increase sales versus seeing it on the spot and being like, oh, I may or may not buy that. But if you see it ahead of time and it's in the back of your mind, you're thinking about it more and more. And, if it's something that's like limited, or even something that may come back, it doesn't matter, you have a higher chance of maybe, not everybody, but maybe buying that specific thing.
People have speculated for years too that hey, like they run things the way they run things, like in order to facilitate data mining and just to get those things out there. I don't buy that. I think it's like most things in the world, there's a boring, mundane explanation. And I've asked a bunch of times, other creators have asked, like, hey, why are you guys loading this stuff in days before creators are allowed to talk about it? Of course it's going to leak. People are going to, there's a maintenance break or, like every time there's an update, we're like, okay, cool. Like all the content that people have planned and potentially already started filming, depending on the timelines, like a lot of that gets essentially burned when there's a leak because they'll preload assets into these updates or maintenance, put them into maintenance and enable this stuff for leakers to see. And it does just kind of like take the surprise value. It diminishes the value that creators see from their own content is what I'll say. That really sucks for people. Like obviously there's a lot of people who are still going to like go watch a judo video to see a preview of the next season or whatever. But there's a lot of people who won't, and there is a specific method in which Supercell has decided to introduce new content to players, and that is largely through the creator program. And that facilitates people earning an income from this. So in a way, leaks diminish the expected return for content creators, and I have a lot of sympathy for that because not everyone is Judo Sloth who has millions of subscribers and hundreds of thousands of views on everything. A lot of these guys are smaller and really dependent on the income, and it's already spread so thin. So I don't want to be like boo-hoo, feel sorry for the $1 billion corporation, or boo-hoo, feel sorry for all these people who are making money just playing a video game, but they're all real people, and like it's a job to them. So
You make a good point. When you put it in that sort of perspective, yeah, I mean, you're completely right. And that's why, like if Supercell were to, crack down further, I mean, don't get me wrong, they've definitely been tightening things up within the past year between, how often they update the server to pull information, or whether it's, adding certain things to the metadata. I think there are still things they could do to sort of tighten it up. And while that would definitely reduce the amount of leaks we would get, I'd be for it personally because, at the end of the day, if, a content creator is affected by these leaks and that's how they get their income and it's hurting their view count and their income, well, that's not great because those people still need to make a living. So I'd rather
yeah,
live in a world where those people can continue doing their job and making a living and thrive and not get any leaks. I mean, I want to see people succeed, obviously, but you make a good point when it comes to leaks sort of affecting that aspect of content creators and their revenue.
the point I started to go to before I got off the rails there was like the way Supercell has put content into the game. It does enable a lot of the leaks to happen, and for the longest time, I'm just like, why are you guys? This is within your control to stop. If you don't want the next season skins to leak, don't put them in a place that people can go and view them. Like I remember years ago, it was you used to open that loading screen and it would just be downloading content, and you watch a little bar. That doesn't happen as much anymore, and it's because like they take the opportunity to load this stuff in when they can, and it's not done out of like carelessness. Like I really don't believe it's done out of like wanting things to leak to help the marketing of it. I think it's just there's probably, and this is all my guess, is like it's got to be just like some efficiency thing, like about, hey, like we don't want to drive people to do App Store updates constantly because like every single time like someone opens the game and they can't get in and it says go to the App Store, like a certain amount of people, maybe not a crazy high amount, but a certain amount of people are going to say, you know what, I don't want to do that, and they just stop playing when you interrupt it like that. So
Yeah, I think there's definitely some credibility to that.
it makes sense. They're probably just in a bind. Like hey, this is the way we have to do it because it makes the most sense, when looked at from a high level on the whole. So it just kind of sucks, and I gotta imagine they just say like, hey, this is the acceptable amount of of leaked info that we're willing to cause. The leaks that come from creators, I think everyone hates. It's disrespectful to your peers, whoever has been doing it, or however many people, I don't know. Like it's incredibly disrespectful to each other. Like everyone, the goal is to put everyone on equal footing. Like everyone gets access to the content at the same time to create their videos and write and produce everything. And everyone has, here is the time in UTC that everyone can push their videos live, and it all goes out at the same time. To undermine that by leaking to someone for it can't be a significant gain, right? There's no one like you got to be making more money from your creator code and views on YouTube than you could from whatever Kurdish or cock Arabs willing to pay you. Right? I don't know, but that would be my assumption.
Yeah, to be honest, I really don't know. I'd have to see those numbers and get actual concrete proof, because again, it's all just based off stuff I've been told and other things.
The way Supercell set up their creator program, like they have to understand, and I'm sure they do, that like there is a certain amount of stuff that's going to go wrong with it. Like people are going to make mistakes. It happens all the time where like they put a new little button somewhere, or there's a menu or something in the background. Like there's a lot of different things that can accidentally be shown when you're making a video, and mistakes are going to happen. For the most part, they're pretty understanding. It's only like, hey, when it repeatedly happens that it really becomes a problem, because it's just the cost of doing business to a certain extent. The thing I think that they're the most serious about is collaborations. When they say like, we're doing a collaboration with WWE, like that, they waited until the last possible minute to that, because there's absolutely, there's business dealings with another giant, enormous corporation. There's a lot of work that went into that, and associated timelines with when everything can go live and be advertised. And so they really don't want like some bozo in the creator program messing that up. Obviously don't want like Town Hall 18 stuff leaking. It probably will to some extent or another.
I have a feeling we may see some Town Hall 18 leaks maybe in October, but I'm not too sure. Considering that Supercell likes to add 3 months of content, and that this would probably be the last big update before Town Hall 18, I wouldn't be surprised if there's some leftover remnants in there.
The Town Hall stuff is stuff that like doesn't need to be loaded in ahead of time. Like there's not,
no,
yeah, like there's no excuse to put Town Hall 18 stuff anywhere that's accessible to anyone until that update is like sent off to Apple and Google to put in the App Store. Like that should, in theory, be the first time anyone outside of the creator program sees it.
Yeah, I completely agree.
I'm trying to remember, the Town Hall updates haven't felt like a lot has leaked early. There was the stuff that did, like maybe it was 17 leaked, and it was surprising because it was like a Town Hall update that leaked early. But I'm drawing a blank on it.
Also thinking back, like when it comes to actual Town Hall updates and leaks, usually it's pretty tight. There may have been some stuff with Town Hall 15. I know back when Darian was still the community manager, it's pretty funny. At the World Finals, they wore a shirt that had the official release date for Town Hall 15, and he came to the leak sub, and he was like, "You guys didn't see the release date?" And we're just like, we were all flabbergasted that.
Yeah, it was like Roman numerals on his t-shirt. That was that was Stuart, the former GM, who was a really cool guy. It
was really cool.
Yeah, like I really, every time I had a chance to talk to him, it was awesome. Yeah, he was on screen. This is like Roman numerals. It was like 10. It was like October 15th in Roman numerals or something, and that was the date.
Something like that, yeah. I think it was like 10. It was XX, and then I think it was 1V.
Yeah, something like that. But it was like like 15 in October 2022 or what, I don't know. It was a date month in the Town 15. Anyway, but yeah, it's funny that like they'll do stuff like that as a very purposeful teaser. Like that's not leaking any content. That's not spoiling for people who want to be surprised. I was a kid who I peeked at my Christmas presents constantly, all the time. That's so like I get the desire to want to know what's coming, even now, like when I'm already getting information well ahead of everyone else, like I'm still so impatient. Like I'm sitting here like right now, like I don't know when we're gonna air this, but it's September 28th. Like Town Hall 18 is months away. I don't know when, and I'm still just like every day. I'm like, dude, show me Town Hall 18. Come on, like let me play it. Let me get my hands on it. Like I want to see all this stuff. And
Yeah.
and you know, like I'm talking to other creators I'm friendly with, and I'm trying to look back over the years and like, okay, what's the normal timeline for when we see this stuff? And like, you know, like Town Hall releases always get previewed to us at Worlds. Like that's when I'm expecting to start to see Town Hall 18, but they're doing Worlds differently this year, so who knows? But anyway, it's a lot of mixed emotions and conflicting feelings on it too. Like, because I get it. Like I want to see this stuff early too. Going back to talking about like the way we deal with it on the subreddit is, I'm sure Supercell would prefer there not being leaks on Reddit. Our stance is kind of like, hey, it's out there. If you care that much, like change the way that you do business so things don't leak. It's out there. It's a valid discussion topic. I don't want to push people to the leak subreddit to force them to talk about it there. I think it's fair to allow Reddit to talk about leaks, and we just kind of ask nicely, like, hey, please don't put spoilers in the title and please spoiler tag stuff. You know, and that's kind of the most that we act on it.
Yeah, no, that's completely fair. I also do think that it's definitely up to Supercell, especially these days, to really consider whether or not they want to kind of, on their own terms, internally kind of crack down on some of this stuff, because at the end of the day, it really is up to them on how much they want to like tweak and let out there. I mean, I think that's fully on them.
Every time a creator leaks something, it hurts other creators, I think, the most. There's no real impact toward the players. So it is just like somebody's actions within this small community of creators is having a negative impact. It's only going to affect other creators, like, because Supercell's going to delay when they give us info. It makes it harder for everyone to make their own content. My position as a super creator, it isn't super affected, you know, especially because we don't create stuff ourselves. We've had mod creators who do like infographics and stuff from time to time, but generally we're just posting and highlighting things other creators have done, like the creators who are going to be making money from it. You know, I'd rather promote someone else and help them make a living doing their dream. Yeah, it's a weird moral spot for me. It's something like I do think about through the years too, especially with how often I've talked with you about leaks. It's something that's on my mind a lot.
Yeah, man, that's fair.
All right, yeah. So like, you don't have any names to name for who you think is giving up info out of their program, do you?
All I can say, I don't have any official names, obviously, but all I know is it's 100%, well, maybe not 100%, I'd say 95%, more than likely someone in the Middle East in the content creator program in tier 3, or at least someone in the content creator program, at least. And there's a very high likely chance, I don't know, again, if it's still this way, because a lot has changed internally at the company with employees and stuff over the past few years, but there was definitely back then one guy, one dev leaking information to them.
Let me see. I haven't looked at the leaks hub in a while. I see Thon is saying new equipment for Archer Queen and Grand Warden.
Pretty sure that was scrapped according to the game file, since everything except the metadata was removed.
That's one of the more annoying things, is like knowing the real answers and seeing people speculate and be constantly wrong. And man, I'm a Redditor, you know, like deep down, like I love being right on the internet.
Who doesn't?
Like it is a lesson I had to learn back when I was first getting into intelligence, was like, every time there's a video of something that like hits the news from something that happened in, you know, in one of the areas of operation, like a shoot down or some kind of combat video, a grainy version of it will hit the news, and people are just like immediately hit Reddit or Twitter or somewhere, and they're analyzing this terrible video and getting it wrong and getting it wrong in like really weird. If I were to say things that like if I were to give that analysis to someone important, it would be dangerous. Yeah, so like there is a part there's a part of you that wants to be like, no, you idiots, that's not true. But like I don't want to go to jail, and it's not that important to correct some bozo on Reddit. So like it's something I got used to a long time ago, but there's still like that little bit that ticking in the back of my brain, going like, this guy's an idiot. There's been a lot of stuff over the years that is just like gets left in the game files, and there's leakers too who have made stuff up, like Push Barrage has straight up invented stuff.
Yeah, I remember back in Reddit Talks Clash 7, I think, before I came along back in 22 and cleaned everything up. You guys were talking about how unreliable the Clash of Clans leak subreddit was. It was basically the Wild West. You'd have like fake leaks every week, and that still does exist from time to time. It's not as often, and it's not allowed on the main sub. But yeah, like they would just make up stuff left and right, and it really pissed me off. I mean, there was a leak a long, long time ago of a golf course scenery, and that never got added. So who knows if that was fake or not? And that was before AI.
Man, dude, don't get me started on AI. It's been my biggest headache with the sub the last month.
I will say I'm really happy, but surprised that we haven't seen more like fake AI posts on the leak sub, especially with how easy it is to make like AI images these days. But it does make me happy not seeing that.
It's really easy just to like Photoshop stuff.
Yeah.
AI is probably not good enough to create a believable fake leak. It's probably just much easier just to just Photoshop a little stuff.
If you know what you're looking for, it's easy to like identify, you know what I mean? Like if you see like certain smudges or like, it's pretty easy if you know what you're looking for to tell if it's AI or not.
On the main subreddit, like we have rules against private server stuff. It's funny, like people are like how can you tell? And you're like, dude, because I've looked at the dev build a ton. It's basically the same thing. There are a lot of weird commonalities between the two. Like, and it's nothing crazy complicated, but I've only seen it a few times. But there has been like the spiky ball leaked. I remember that was like from one of like the dev build like test wars of that equipment along with other stuff. There's video of the spiky ball leaked. I remember that was big because that was like someone recording a screen on one of the dev builds that they shouldn't have and shared that with a friend or someone.
But when I saw Spiky Ball, I was like, there's no way this is real. Turns out it was real, and it's one of the most OP equipments.
I guess, before we wrap it up, any other like random bombshells that you felt like dropping that I haven't gotten to?
I mean, looking back, I am pretty proud of the work I did because to me, I mean, creating the branding, taking this toxic wasteland, in my opinion, in my view, and turning it into what it is today, this fully functioning system with a team that I helped build. And, it's fully functioning even without me there now. That makes me just really happy because at least I can say I did something within the Clash space in general. So I do feel like I kind of maybe left a mark in a way. Might not be that big or impactful, and I know not everybody is going to know who I am, but I would like to hope that at least my memory within the Clash community space can be known for creating a better future and a more friendly environment that's more positive for these leaks for people that want to see them. And overall, I'm really proud of the team today. So I don't know if they're ever going to listen to this, but I do want to say that I'm very proud of them, and I hope they can continue to lead the Clash Leaks community forward in the positive manner that it's going.
All right, cool. Thank you so much for coming out and sharing all this, dude. This was a fun conversation.
Yeah, thank you for having me. I've had a blast.
Yeah, dude, like just talking about Clash, man, is always fun. Like regardless of kind of like what the topic is. Like, man, I enjoy talking to people who have different perspectives on it, have had different experiences, and just hearing like the just wide variety of people and things that Clash has done for them too. It's always fun. Appreciate it very much. And
yeah, thank you, man.
Yeah, and then I will have to come up with some way to end it, but I can do that after the fact.